Pecha Kucha 170, Joker, and this would be the graphic novel, not the film, and One Punch Man, it's a redrawing of an old drawing I did. I thought I'd share it. So I've been sitting on Joker the comic, the trade paperback, for, I don't know, maybe a year. It was Christmas this week. I decided to read it. Quite the present. It's not, as far as I can tell, canonically linked to any particular version of Batman or Joker. It's a self-contained story written by Brian Azzarello with art by Lee Bermejo. Two names I now recognize because of stuff like this. It's through the eyes of a 2-bit thug called Johnny Frost, who basically a deadbeat, gets out of jail for the 5th time. His wife's just divorced him. He doesn't see his kids. He runs with the Joker. The book starts with him meeting Joker outside Arkham Asylum. Joker is released. Nobody knows why. It's never explained. There's many things in this book that are alluded to and never explained, which is something I like about Brian Azzarello's work. It makes you fill in the blanks. Joker is, by his own admission, not insane. He's just mad in this version. Harley Quinn's depiction in this is very particular in that she's in the book from the start to the end, says nothing at all, has no dialogue. And she's as disturbed as the Joker, but it's just a very particular thing that I noticed immediately. The Penguin as well, who Joker refers to as Abner for reasons that escape me. I should Google it. Him and the Joker. Anytime the Joker has an interaction with another Rogues Gallery villain, it's delightful. One of the other highlights of the book is Joker talking to whichever version of the Riddler this is, with a limp and no shirt, who secures some kind of bizarre MacGuffin, a suitcase with something that glows inside, much like the same thing from Pulp Fiction. And before the Riddler finishes his business deal with the Joker, Joker replies to his riddle right before he leaves, in one of the many instances where Joker shows that he's like this reverse Batman, equally as intelligent but utterly unpredictable and deranged. Batman is in this book very, very small amounts of the time, and when he shows up, it just makes things worse. This entire book is a noir-style story where every character is deeply damaged to some level. Batman is no different. And when he smiles, bad things happen. This is no exception to that rule. I highly recommend it, but only if you're into dark things, noir-style things. So I just went into Manga Studio and did some scribbles because I was inspired by the art and thought, you know what, could I draw, Joker in the bar with Johnny Frost waving a gun around, accidentally pointed at the bartender until it goes off, blah, blah, blah. So I was just trying to, out of my head, see if I could take some black marks, put them down on a white canvas, and end up with something that's readable. So I kind of was working from Joker leaning in on Frost, and then I kind of drew out the bar. It's a really bizarre thing to work with no reference and then find that you can achieve a certain degree of readability. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to perspective. I don't know if the barman and his angle and the bar even makes sense. It looks like it makes sense, but I could be wrong. And then I started doing panels around this one panel to kind of, at the end, decide to turn it into a page of a comic. So faces are an easy thing for me, drawing the Joker with his bizarre grin. I kind of know what teeth look like in a mouth to an extent. You can fill in the gaps for me, and then there's so much more work I need to do in learning how to detail things. So, like Johnny inadvertently looks Asian because I spend too much time, drawing manga characters, things like this. But it was good to sit down and just have a go. It was an hour well spent. I should try doing more of it. Imagine that, right? So here's an old picture I did, I guess, sometime last year of One Punch Man. I was trying to figure out how to draw his goofy ass face and the rest of him using vector tools in Manga Studio, and I decided to redraw it, but as I was using the vector tools, it just feels so forced. You get nice, lovely, smooth lines, but it's like building a house brick by brick. You get your hands dirty and you kind of think, am I the architect or am I the goddamn labourer, right? So I decided I was going to draw it again using a normal brush, got the dark pencil brush out. This is what I ended up with. For the work I put in and the line quality that comes out, I'm quite happy with it. I did look at reference for his One Punch Man's zip in his belt and stuff, so I was trying to have a little bit more polish than I usually do. Obviously making a joke about, he loves to go shopping, stuff like that. And then I did some cross hatching on a separate layer with a lower pen size. It's probably the first time in a long time I felt like cross hatching is working out for me. You need every line to have a certain level of competence or it kind of counts against you. And then I just ended up coloring it almost by accident. I never intended to, but I don't regard colouring as that difficult a thing to add once you've got the forms down. And, a coloured image hides poor quality line work quite well as well. So Sad Clown of the Week is my version of Joker, the trade paperback, which this is not an out of focus picture. This is how it looks in the comic. The top panel is almost unreadable. For some reason, the way they printed my comic in Spain, it's to be noted, as the book says, there are a few pages where things are misaligned, they're blurry. I think something was left on a printer, or one of the printers was, the paper was slightly misaligned. I don't know what it is, but this was a bummer. I've been sitting on this book so long, it's not like I can get a refund. My receipt's probably the ink's not there anymore. It's one of those things. But you know what? It adds to the mystique of this book, which is all about damaged characters. My actual graphic novel is damaged as well. That brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 170, and I will see you next week.